Hello and welcome back to The Man's Kitchen. It is me, your host, James the Man's Man. And today, I'm starting a little bit of a... I've always wanted to do a cookbook of my own. The Man's Cookbook is what we're going to call it for now. Or The Man's Kitchen Cookbook, or Cookbook from the Man's Kitchen. I'm not quite sure. No title is yet set in stone. But I don't know what direction I want to go with the cookbook. I do know there's one dish I want to include in it for sure, no matter what I do. So with that said, I'll tell you more about it right after this. And we're back from the intro. Now, before we continue on, I would love to invite you all to subscribe to me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, along with subscribing here on YouTube and dinging the bell icon so you get notifications when I post new videos. Also, if you want to like this video and leave a comment, I would love to read what you have to say. With that said, like I said, we are starting our cookbook, maybe, most likely. And the dish I want to make for you today is a Chicken Tetrazzini. And the reason I've chosen that is because that is the very first dish that I ever made for my wonderful wife. It was our third date. She came over for home-cooked dinner, and I made some appetizers, I made the meal, I made a dessert, and about halfway through, a friend of mine called, and I know I shouldn't have answered the phone on a date, but I did. And he said, "Hey, do you want to go out for some drinks? I'm just getting done work." And I said to him, "Sorry, I'm having dinner with my girlfriend." And I got off the phone with him, and she said, "Your girlfriend? I'm your girlfriend now?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how this works." I don't know. Well, we've been together ever since. So, with that said, I'm going to show you up the ingredients next. Alright, so I have the ingredients here, and I have everything, I measured everything out, and I'm going to include what looks like a recipe card in the description. So it'll tell you exactly how many grams everything is. I have onions. This was a medium onion and a small onion, but the actual gram weight will be in the description. Cremini mushrooms, but you could also use button mushrooms. This is almost half of a package. 1 red pepper. 2 ounces of Parmesan cheese. I think that was like an ounce or so of garlic butter. I have a carton of 18% cream. I have some fettuccine noodles. I have some chicken sliced up into an émincé, which is just French for I sliced it up into little strips. Salt and pepper. And we're going to hop on over to the stove where I have my frying pan preheating and my boiling water. I already brought it to a boil with a little olive oil and salt in it. And I can turn it back up when we go to add the noodles in. I also have the oven preset to 350 degrees, and I'll show you why in a second. Alright, here we are at the stovetop. I have this sitting on number 2 just to keep it warm. Turn it up a bit, maybe to 5 or so. Not quite sure. I usually use the right side for most of my cooking, and that doesn't really have any numbers. It just says hot, low, whatever. So anyways, we'll put some sunflower oil in there. This is my oil of preference. Gonna grab ourselves our chicken. Oh yeah, that's hot. Probably gonna need to do this in 2 batches. Add a little salt. Add a little pepper. And I decided to add a little oregano too. Okay, we're going to give these a flip. Maybe a little more oregano on this side. There should be enough salt and pepper in the frying pan and in the oil now. Basically, all we're going to do is we're going to get these nice and brown. And maybe I'll fast forward this part of me frying up the chicken. I'll time lapse this or whatnot, and you can see this go in super speed. Alright, so now we've got the second batch of this about as browned off as the first batch. We can kill the heat for a second. These don't have to be cooked all the way through. In fact, if they are cooked all the way through, either they're going to get cold or dried out by the time you're finished. Because if they're cooked all the way through, you might leave them on the counter and they're going to get cold by the time you finish making the pasta. If you put them in the oven and they're cooked all the way through, you're going to dry them out. Unless you have the oven turned down nice and low as a warming oven. I have my oven set to 350 degrees convection bake. Now we're ready to make the pasta. So what we're going to do first off is we're going to get some noodles into the water. Cut open this bag. So we are going to put, I don't know. I know they say that each person should get what fits through that hole. I don't know. Whoa! That's noodles on the floor. But I'm putting about that many, yeah, many noodles in. Could be too much, could be not even close to enough. But I will weigh up what's left, and I'll subtract that from it, and I'll let you know in the comments below. I only have about 5 or 6 on the floor, so that shouldn't really matter. I'll let you know how many grams of dried noodles this was. So we're going to stir this up. Put some heat back on our frying pan that we're using. Put just a little more oil in here. And all that brownness in there is going to be the flavor. Let's add our onions. Something tells me I grabbed a comically undersized frying pan for this, but we'll find out. Okay. Take our wooden spoon, and we're going to stir this up. And one trick you can do, now you can use stock for this if you have stock. You can take a little bit of your pasta water if you don't have any stock. And the reason that went in there is to help me deglaze, or you could use some white wine too. Help me deglaze all that chicken flavor off the bottom of the frying pan. And to put that into our onions. Now I'm going to turn the fan on. Alright, now that the onions are about a third of the way cooked, we're going to add our mushrooms. We're going to add our peppers. And naturally, I'm going to time-lapse this part, just like I was with the onions. So you don't have to sit here for 5 or 6 minutes listening to me ramble on about useless stuff. Alright, now that everything is pretty much cooked up, we're going to add in our knob of garlic butter. And we're going to pour in our 18% cream. You need at least 18% cream to thicken the sauce by using only Parmesan cheese. If you want to use 10% cream, you're going to have to use a roux. Now you could use a little bit of 35 here just to add some extra richness. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the heat down from power boil, which is what I was frying up on, down to 3. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring this sauce to a boil. What I wanted to happen is I want the garlic butter to melt, and I want the sauce to come to a little boil. Well, and I'm doing it gently on a, well, let's get the heat in here. I might turn the temperature up a bit. But I don't want to scorch the sides. So that's why I turned it down, so I could get everything mixed up first. Then I'll turn it back up. It's a nice thing with gas is how responsive it is. You can turn heat up when you need it up, you can turn it down when you need it down. Okay, my knob of butter has almost disappeared. So let's just make sure we have it stirred up. Okay, we're going to shut the pasta off. Yeah, that butter's disappeared. It's in there everywhere. Okay. I'm going to take our Parmesan cheese. And the reason that we are using the powdered Parm and not fresh grated is because when you use the powdered Parm, it's easier to thicken sauces. It tends to disappear. If you're using fresh grated, you end up with strings of Parmesan cheese. So at the restaurant, we use both kinds of cheese. We use our powdered stuff to thicken, just like this, and we use the stringy, fresh grated looking stuff for topping. That's what we sprinkle on top of stuff. If you try and use that inside, you'll get little pulls of cheese inside, and it's not bad. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. But when you try and get stuff with your tongs out, or it ends up making a horrible mess. So we're going to taste this up right now for our final seasoning. Mmm, very, very garlicky. I like it. Okay. So these were my dirty chicken tongs. I have a clean pair of tongs. What we're going to do, we're going to drain out the pasta. So we're going to grab a strainer. We're going with the handle. It's not going to be thick enough. Go pop out the strainer. We're going to pour the noodles out. We're going to get them in there. Right. We can turn the heat off on this because the pan has enough heat to finish the job for us. My pan is almost too small, but I think it's going to work just all right. So we'll add our noodles in here. Now this is the kind of pasta that you want to spin. Okay? So you're going to take your fettuccine, or you could use linguine. I wouldn't go anything thinner than linguine though. And you're going to want to work the noodles in and spin them like this. The reason that we don't like to toss these kinds of pastas at the restaurant is because it buries all the topping inside. And we like to put the topping right on the top. So I'm going to get some plates. I'm going to plate up our portions, and we'll give it a final taste and a grade, and I'll talk to you in a few minutes. Alright, all I basically did was turn around, get a plate, and pull the chicken out of the oven. So we'll take our noodles and some of the topping. So you move the noodles off to one side of the pan, and you have the topping on the other side. And I have another portion in here for my wife, and I have another portion in here for her mother. I'm going to bring it to her at work today as a nice little surprise. So that can go back to the stove. And I'll scoop up just what I want for chicken there. And I have myself my Chicken Tetrazzini. grab ourselves a fork and a spoon. So I know I don't really know how to eat pasta, to be honest. I would just dig right in, but I know you're supposed to grab your noodles and then spin them in your spoon. I don't know. But, and I see I even lost it. I got a mushroom on here and a little bit of pasta. There's the right amount of garlic in there, so, and the seasoning's not bad. Cut off a little bit of chicken. The chicken is tender. It's not dry, it's still very moist. I only had it in the oven for maybe eight minutes or so, about just as long as it took to cook the pasta. The pasta's a little on the al dente side, which all that means is to the teeth. You need to bite it. It's not going to fall apart as the mush. The vegetables are sautéed well. So all in all, I'm very happy with the proportions and sizing that I got. So I will weigh up what's left in that bag of noodles, and then I will subtract the difference. So I'll let you know how many grams of pasta I actually ended up cooking. Other than that, if you have anything you'd like to add to the recipe, write it down in the comments. Maybe it'll make the cut. Maybe I'll try it again, and it'll make the cut to the cookbook. Maybe it won't. Let me know if you make yourself chicken tetrazzini, what you like to put in yours, what you don't. And so remember, if you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.